I'm someone that I'm resolute about success. It wasn't as if I've not made money. I made my first million at a very early stage. I think when I was already 23, I had already made my first million. By 22, 23, I had already made my first million. But while we're investing in the capital market crashed, and that was where we were functioning seriously, and everything I made went down the drain. The company that we were even working also went down, and it was back to square zero. Sometimes when I look at the pictures of when I used to do training those days for the people that were going to work with us, I used to wonder what did they see in me and my partner that made them follow us. But I can also remember that they saw the fact that, number one, we're committed to the cause that we're pursuing. Number two, we're committed to the things we were saying. We're not saying little things, we're saying big things. And they could see that from the little things, the big things we were saying, some of them were already coming to pass, and they were committed to us. And today we have grown a very big organization, turning over in billions of naira. And we have also spread our tentacles to many places. The story has been a story of inspiration, a story of never giving up, always holding on to what is right, never saying no, never talking down on yourself. Where you have challenges is where you make the most money. There are some things that we are struggling with now as a business that we should have gone past. First 6 to 7 or even 8 years of the business, we never took money, because the first time we took money from the bank was a bad experience. So understanding the right kind of funding at each level of your business is very important, because you need funding. There is need for capital to do business.
What has defined me today are some of the failures that I've gone through. I've failed in so many stages of my life. I have failed in career, I've failed in business, I've failed in marriage, I've failed, but I did not allow these failures define me, because I know that the failures are just giving me a pathway in order for me to discover several ways with which I need not to do certain things. Sometimes these failures are like a defining moment for you to really understand while you are here where you ought to be. Sometimes certain things may keep you back, and it looks as if you can't cross that hurdle. But do not allow the devil tell you that lie, because there is no hurdle you cannot climb if you focus and make up your mind to do it. I thank God today because I didn't just fail, I failed forward, because the extra skill that I learned during that season that the devil wanted to make look like a failure season was a season where I developed that skill, and that skill was now handy for me in the banking industry. A lot of people make it look like failure is a bad thing. Failure is not a bad thing. Failure is actually a good thing, because it makes you discover some sort of things that you have inside of you that you never really know you could. You have the capacity to change the status quo in your life. A lot of people discover purpose from the place of pain. I discovered my purpose from the place of failure. I didn't want any other person to go through what I've gone through, so I decided to pay it forward. So by paying it forward, I discovered, this is what I'm called to do. So I started doing it, and from doing it and doing it consistently. Now you also need to understand why you are doing what you're doing, because the why actually matters. Make sure that the motive is not selfish. Make sure that the motive is something that is yearning towards making others better, towards creating solutions for other people. When the motive is right, success is inevitable. A lot of people go in search of mentors, but what they're looking for is just sponsors. You must have a genuine motive and be ready to learn. It's not everything that your mentor will tell you. Dot the I, cross the T. You have to be able to pick on the words they are not saying. You have to be able to observe. You have to be able to, when you go to them, go ready to be able to receive, not to go and start talking. I know that likes attract likes, but sometimes go in search of what you want.
Welcome to Inspired for Impact event themed My Journey, My Story. We have three amazing speakers who are going to also be sharing the journey to relevance, how they've moved from one point in their lives to another. On our platform Inspired for Impact, we have different programs. We have the book club, which we run every other month. A lot of fantastic books, and those books have been inspiring. We have the new month prayers, where we just declare into the new month what we want it to be. We do that every first day of the month, 5:30 a.m. On Zoom. We also have the Living Inspired monthly event, where we have different speakers. Sometimes I run those sessions, and then a number of times we have speakers who take us through different topical sessions. Currently, we run that on Instagram Live, and it's tagged Living Inspired with Victoria Bauer. Finally, I run a coaching segment as part of the platform every quarter, and it's coaching conversations with Victoria Bauer. Just taking professionals in the different areas, different levels or stages of their career through important topics and things they need to be aware of, and just to help them be the best versions of themselves in their professional careers. I want to show you that you're being a part of this program is not a coincidence. Inspired for Impact as a platform is an assignment, it's purpose being fulfilled, and it's part of us going a step further in pursuit of purpose with passion. It's been said that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step that is taken. You're joining this event today from wherever you are in the world is a step you are taking towards that desired destiny and future that you see for yourself. I just want to say this to you. As you partake in this year's event, do not just partake in it. Be deliberate about making the required changes and taking the steps that you need to take. So I'm going to be seeing you at the top, because definitely the top is where you belong. So sit back, enjoy the event, and stay blessed. What do I do? Welcome everybody. Anyone? Welcome to Inspired for Impact event themed My Journey, My Story. We have three amazing speakers who are going to also be sharing the journey to relevance, how they've moved from one point in their lives to another. On our platform Inspired for Impact, we have different programs. We have the book club, which we run every other month. A lot of fantastic books, and those books have been inspiring. We have the new month prayers, where we just declare into the new month what we want it to be. We do that every first day of the month, 5:30 a.m. On Zoom. We also have the Living Inspired monthly event, where we have different speakers. Sometimes I run those sessions, and then a number of times we have speakers who take us through different topical sessions. Currently, we run that on Instagram Live, and it's tagged Living Inspired with Victoria Bauer. Finally, I run a coaching segment as part of the platform every quarter, and it's coaching conversations with Victoria Bauer. and just taking professionals in the different areas, different levels or stages of their career through important topics and things they need to be aware of, and just to help them be the best versions of themselves in their professional careers. I want to show you that you're being a part of this program is not a coincidence. Inspired for Impact as a platform is an assignment, it's a purpose being fulfilled, and it's part of us going a step further in pursuit of purpose with passion. It's been said that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step that is taken. You're joining this event today from wherever you are in the world is a step you're taking towards that desired destiny and future that you see for yourself. I just want to say this to you. As you partake in this year's event, do not just partake in it, be deliberate about making the required changes and taking the steps that you need to take. So I'm going to be seeing you at the top, because definitely the top is where you belong. So sit back, enjoy the event, and stay blessed.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Apologies for the initial glitch. We're ready to go. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who's made our time to join this year's event. This is our 4th year in a row. We started in 2020, and like you saw from the video, this for us is an assignment. We see it as a way of making impact. So this is our fourth time around. And like we've done every year, this year we have a fantastic lineup of speakers, leading professionals in their spheres of influence, people who are out there making impact, and people whose stories would definitely inspire you and spur you on to greater things in life. So I just want to encourage you, if you know anybody that should be here that hasn't joined us, please reach out to them. They need to be right here. So please quickly put on your social media platforms, tell people we're live, just send the link of this YouTube page and just share it with everybody. If you do not have your notebooks or your iPad or the tablet, whatever it is you want to use to take your notes, this is an unforgettable experience. So it's not something you need to miss for anything. So please do take your notes, and beyond taking your notes, make a commitment to take actions, from the notes. I'm so excited to be doing this with every one of you. And really, it's a blessed one. And this is me. Let me also wish you an early Happy New Year 2024. Let the things that you will pick from today's session guide the new resolutions and the things that you will plan to do in 2024. 2024 is going to be an amazing year. But before we get to 2024, there's still a lot that you can achieve in 2023. And I'm so glad to be doing this with you. I'm really looking forward to hearing your stories, and peradventure to hosting you on this platform in no distant future. Thank you once again for joining. Enjoy the ride with me. Thanks. So in a few minutes, I'm going to be bringing on stage our guest speakers. I'll just allow a few moments for them to come on stage. And as they speak, we'll display their profiles for you. You would have seen the profiles during the build up to the event, but they will be coming on stage just in a moment. Thank you. I see Mrs. Temitope Yusuf coming up.
Hi, Victoria.
Hi, Tope. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate your joining us. Thank you so much. And you look very, very lovely as usual. Thank you. Hello, MD. Great. MD, thank you for joining. Welcome.
No, my name is Ikenna.
Okay. You're muted. Okay, you're muted. Okay, awesome. So here you have it. Special guests for this year's event. Like I said before earlier, it's going to be like nothing you've experienced before. They're going to be sharing the stories, the secrets of their success, and like some people will say, the scars of their victory. So it's be a no holds barred conversation. So speakers, please get ready. We already have some announcements about Inspired for Impact. This year, one of the things that we did this year was to regularize, to have a more structured platform. So we did register, and so we have a structure. We have our chairman who's going to be coming to wrap up the session towards the end of today's event, and it's just going to be a wow experience. One of the things you will get to see also for during today's event, different from every other event, is that at the end of the day, we'll also show you the people behind everything you have been seeing. That's everything that you've seen leading to this. We're going to be bringing them so you see the faces that are behind the work that has been going on. So we'll start off with Tokwe, Mrs. Yusuf. We want to hear you. So we want you in the next about 10 minutes, give us highlights, of your journey till date, key things, things that have shaped you, key things that the audience needs to know about you. And as you start, even though they've seen your profile, you can just highlight a few key things that people should know. Over to you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Victoria. I can confirm you can hear me clearly. Yes?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. First of all, I'll say thank you for inviting me to share my story on your platform. I see it as an opportunity to make an impact. And I'm hoping that by the end of today, my story or my journey would inspire people. I also want to say happy birthday to you, Victoria, because I know that this event commemorates your birthday. So happy birthday to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank
so
you.
When you asked me to do this, I thought, where do I start from in terms of telling my story? But I thought, okay, so my earliest memories would probably be where to start from. So part of my earliest memories was realizing that my siblings and I, my mom, we are the second family. So I come from a polygamous home, and my mom was the second wife. And the dynamics of that was that we had lesser privileges, to my knowledge. Now, having said that, one of the things I also realized very strongly was that my dad was big on our education. So very early in life, I realized that I needed to make a choice. We could either wallow in, oh, we are not as privileged as our half siblings are, or we could take the opportunities that we were presented in and make the best of it. So as far back as I was 11, I remember setting values for my life, and pretty much those three values still shape my life till date. And those values are excellence, integrity, and making a positive impact in my society, in my community. Of late, I've added one more, which is kindness, right? So I knew that I needed to take whatever it was that we had and make the best of it in terms of academic excellence. And that was one of the first ways in which excellence for me prevailed. I had a very good result in my high school, straight A's, fourth best result in the school. And then at some point, even before then, I think one of the things that shaped my journey and my career was my dad sort of steering and guiding at every moment. He says, I want you to be an accountant. He is an accountant. He has his own firm. And he says, Stopper, I'd like you to be, he has 10 kids, but there's none of them that's followed, that's told his line. And he says, I want you to be the one to toe my line. To be honest, I had no clue what I really wanted to do. So it was okay for me to toe that line. So I started studying to become an accountant. in my second level at the university. So I started to write ICANN exams in my second level at the university. So I was juggling both university and ICANN exams at the same time. We stayed at Bagada then. By that time, we had moved in with my dad. We stayed at Bagada. I was in Lasso. So I'll go all the way to Lasso in Ojo every day. And in the evenings, I'll then go to Maryland for my ICANN lectures. So pretty much I spent all of my time in school just juggling between university and ICANN. After my first exams at the ICANN professional exams, I had the best results. And I remember someone whispering into my ears that when you've gotten to the top, the only way is either stay there or come down. Now, I can't even remember the person that said that to me, but that was something that stayed with me all through, such that all through the ICANN exams, the 6 levels of ICANN exams that I wrote, because I started from ATS, I had the best results for each level. Another motivation for me in that was each time I had the best results, the tuition house would refund my fees. So it seemed like cool, easy money for me to get back. I stopped requesting for money from my parents because I started to make money quite early just from being quite excellent with exams. And then by the time I was done with ICANN, I think almost about 6 months after, I graduated from the university as well. So the ICANN sort of helped my university. When I graduated, I also graduated with the best results in my department at the time. Of course, with all of that, getting into the job market was quite easy in the sense that I was able to pick and choose of the accounting firms that I wanted to work with. I had the offer from both PwC and KPMG at the time, and I decided to go with PwC. At PwC, I spent about 16 years of my life, pretty much developing skills, technical, non-technical skills. And in the last 2 years, I've been with IHS Towers after the time with PwC. That switch was quite pivotal as well for me. Just haven't been in a place for such a long time and then making the switch. But I'm sure as we go through the session, I'll be able to tell you the considerations that I made in making that switch. So in a short, in a summary form, that has been my life journey, underpinned mainly by excellence, integrity, and a strive to make a positive impact on my community. Of course, with all of this was building a family, getting married, having kids, continuous development of oneself. So I'll stop here, Victoria, and then so I don't take too much time. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yes,
yes,
awesome,
I can.
awesome. I really love the journey that you took us through from your growing up, the values with which you grew up. I like the fact that you were so, I liked everything that you said, but it was interesting to see how you were able to juggle writing your professional exams with school. You know, people do just one of it and it's like, oh, it's so stressful. Just being able to juggle everything together. I remember when the first time I saw you, I was just looking at you from afar like this, but even your look, I could tell that this lady is a very intelligent person. Then when you spoke, I was like, oh, it's just confirming, it. And the fact that you persevered and the motivation, getting the cost of those papers back when you won those awards, that motivation, spurred you on on to do more. Great experience. And I do hope that our audiences are taking note how that perseverance has helped you. That focus, I use the word focus. You talked about integrity. You talked about a number of values that have helped you till date. Great opening for us. A really inspiring story. And like you said, there's more to come from where that came, and there really is more. We do have a number of questions. I want to say to the audience, please also drop in your questions in the chat. If you have anything that you picked from Tokwe's story that you want to hear more about, please drop them in the chat. We have both of them with us for the next 2 hours, and it's really going to be amazing. Thank you again. Thank you. So I'm going to go to the next speaker. We fondly call him MD. Okay, so as he's speaking, you will see his profile, but the same question to you. Thank you very much. So I don't know which one to call you, PIA, MD, any.
No. My name is Ikenna, as it appears on the screen. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so over to you. Let's hear your story.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity to come here to share my journey, my story, because I believe that in life, the level of success that you can see that you achieve is dependent on the investment that you're able to make in the life of other people. And those are part of the things that have helped me shape my life to where I am. I consider that the driving force. So back to me, and happy birthday to you also.
Thank you.
Wishing you many more years.
Thank you.
Basically, for me, when I look at it from my childhood days, I come from a family of 7, 6 boys, 1 girl. My sister is the first child. I'm the second, but the first boy. And growing up in a family where my dad was, I think, stopped at primary school. When he was about to enter secondary, both parents passed. So he was left on his own, just himself and his sister. From Anambra, Navy, where we come from, he relocated to Lagos through a friend, started trading, was assisted, he was dogged, and he was able to grow himself, got married to my mother while she was quite young, gave birth to us. So for him, since he didn't go to school, he made it a point of duty to ensure that the kids all went to school, and he made the resources available. So I'm not going to be here to complain or say that, oh, I had a tough time growing up and all that. We were not in that stage of saying that, oh, affluent family, but he ensured that the basic things that were required, he made them available. So primary school, secondary school, while I was in secondary school, I had this affection to become a pilot. So that's something that most people don't know, but I'm saying it now. My drive was to become a pilot, but in the course of going through secondary school, geography was a challenge for me. I don't know how, but each time I discuss that with my wife, she's always telling me that geography is the easiest thing and all that. But that's how I left it, and now made up my mind that I was going to study, that I was going to be a banker. So secondary school, I shifted to commerce, economics, maths, and things like that. I did very well thanks to one of my uncle that helped me with maths. Maths became an easy thing for me. From there, did JAM, got admission into Enugu State University where I studied banking and finance. So I guess it was preordained that I was going to become a banker. But after that, I went for my youth service in Bauchi. While there, when I finished, I came back to Lagos, started working with my dad. My dad trades, he imports things, especially spare parts that he sells. So I worked with him for 2.5, 3 years before I'd always said to myself that I was going to work in the bank. So after working with him for 3 years, I walked up to him and told him that I wanted to leave. He wasn't happy about it, where I come from. Everyone believes that our line of profession is trading, but I just wanted to make myself different. And that's why the drive to go out, get into a bank, and started there. So my first job, Merchant Banking Corporation, then I started on the 4th of January 1999. That's where I started my banking career. I was there for 3 years, worked in operations for 2 years before being moved to marketing. I was in marketing for close to a year before I had the opportunity of moving to my current place of work, which is Guarantee Trust Bank in 2002. So I've been in GT Bank for over 22 years, and I tell you, it's one place that I believe has helped shape me to who I am today in terms of the discipline, in terms of the work ethics, in terms of the culture, in terms of the drive to never accept no. So it was a package that I believe helped me to become who I am and continue to work hard, always looking for the next thing. And one thing the organization did for me was that the day I was employed, you found out that it was a different ball game from what I experienced in my first workplace, where as a marketer, there are things that you're not expected to do. Various units handle it. But coming into my GT Bank, as a marketer, you're expected to know everything. You're being groomed as a complete banker, not half-baked banker. And knowledge was very key. For you to succeed in the bank, you have to be knowledgeable. So that drove me into always seeking for knowledge, asking questions, looking for materials to read, adding value to my life, adding value to the work and the organization where I was, and always trying to make myself relevant in the scheme of things. And making myself relevant was by producing results, working hard, but by God's grace and with the help of the team I was working with. And also, I would like to give credence to my wife because she has been a major support to me. And I believe that a lot of the things that I've accomplished today, without her, maybe it wouldn't have been possible. But I give her kudos for that. And also to my kids for their understanding, especially when the work took a lot of my time, which is one of the maybe downside of me where the work was like an opium. You succeed, you want to take on another target, you succeed again, you want to take on another one. So all these things were things that I believe helped to shape me to where I am today. And maybe as we go along in this conversation, many more things will come out. But I believe that with this foundation that I've laid, I think it gives us a direction of where I started, where I am today, and where I'm looking at in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Should I say where we're looking at in the future? I should just keep it.
No, just keep it first.
Okay. I was almost, so when you were speaking at some point, I wanted to say, GT did not pay for adverts here. When you went all and all about, but let me just hold on. Thank you. Very, very inspiring story. You said a lot. I picked a few things. Beyond your growing up, your dad was very, very intentional about providing for you, and just saying that because it's a mixed platform that we have. We always say to individuals that the success that they achieve is a combination of a lot of things. One, their personal drive, and what we also say on Inspire for Impact platform, we say also their relationship with God, but also the environment. Environment also matters. So people who are here, who are parents, people who are team leads, people who are mentors, the impact that you make on the lives of people around you, goes a long way. The environment you create really goes a long way to also impact the success or otherwise that they achieve in life. So thank you for talking about the work ethics. Thank you for talking about the discipline. Thank you also for being vulnerable and also talking about how some of these things impacted some other areas, and what you've learned. But we want to hear what you've learned from those things. So thank you. I'm going to, I feel tempted to stay with you because of a question that's something that you said. So let me just stay with you and then I'll go to Mrs. Yusuf later. So in all that you've shared so far, what would you say are the key 3 things that shaped your career to date? So you've talked about a lot of things, but if you look back on the number of years you've worked, what are the key things that you say this 1, 2, 3 maximum that shaped the career and the success
Okay.
you achieved to date. Yeah.
For me, first of all, I have a very good relationship with God. And I don't think where I am today, it's by my hard work, nor my intelligence, or the people that I know. I had a very good foundation in terms of when I gave my life to Christ and all. So I believe those are part of the things that I can say, number one, is critical to me. Then that helped me achieve a lot. God played a major role. Spending time praying, asking God for direction. A lot of the steps that we're taking were bold step of faith that we're taking. And like I mentioned earlier, my wife was also a strong pillar. So number two would be my family, because I don't think I will be where I am today without their support. So the family played a major role. When I also talk family, I will thank my dad and my mom for the role that they played in the foundation, and also bringing me into the world. So number one is God. I never joke with it. Every time I keep giving Him thanks for all the accomplishments. Every day you go out, there are things that you don't see, that you don't know. But the time you spend in the morning to pray and ask Him for direction and to lead you, there are things that are shielded from you that you're not aware of. So that one is key for me. Second is the family, and third, I would say some mentors that I met along the line. Those people really helped to shape me to who I am today. So the mentor thing is very key. No matter the level that you find yourself, you must have someone that you look up to. So never feel that, oh, I've gotten to this level, I've gotten here, I don't need anybody. There's always more. Just like God will say, there's more in God. You achieve this level, there's another level waiting for you. So mentorship plays a major role. As I am today, I have a couple of people that mentor me that I always go to for counsel and advice. So these are the three things that I believe that has helped mold me to the person that I am today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. God, family, mentors, people who have, molded you along the way. Great, great point. And like I always say, audience, please take notes. These are critical things. The first statement you made in the previous question was that our level of success is, one of the measures of that is the investment we make in other people. So it's interesting to see how you link that back, to mentors that have impacted you. So I'll go to our next speaker. Thank you very much, MD. I know that you say it's Ikena, but I'll mix it. I'll mix it. Yes. So yes, Mrs. Yusuf, thank you. I love to see your pretty face, the red lipstick, if you allow me to say that, or wine. It's really pretty. Thank you. So I just listening to you, hearing you talk about your life trajectory, where you are. So I want to zoom in into your career now. And so you have that thing that a lot of younger women, even women that are older than you, can look up to you and say, oh, this lady seems to achieve a lot. I've seen you win several awards. Your family, your kids are doing well. You have a loving family, and people are just looking at you and say, this woman seems to have, it all together. But just tell us, zooming in on your career now, what was the pivotal moment in your career, that shaped the success, and we choose to call it success, even though you would say you're still on your journey, that you've experienced today? What were the things you learned from it, and how has that shaped you to date?
So the many pivotal moments in my career or in my journey. I'd say, and allow me to list a few of
Yeah.
them. I'd say right from my secondary school, when I decided to, in your GS3, depending on how well you do, they almost like place you. If you do so well, you be in sciences,
Yeah.
and then. But my dad was quite insistent that do social sciences, and this was after I'd spent a month in sciences. I think that decision, that allowing him to stare, almost like a what I'd call a secure-based leader for me. Allowing him to stay was quite pivotal for me. Same way, allowing him to push me in the direction of ICANN was quite pivotal, because pretty much everything I've done since then has been built around that. But when it comes to my career, in reality, it has been one that has meant dealing with people, building relationships, working in teams. If you understand PwC and the way it's really pretty much about working in teams, getting results through people. And one of the things that really struck me and has struck me to date was an experience I had when I moved to Cote d'Ivoire. So I spent 3 years in Cote d'Ivoire with PwC in Cote d'Ivoire. I hardly spoke French, but I knew I needed to learn. And I was really open to learning from building relationships in a new environment. Now, one of the engagements that I was assigned to very early on in my time there was one with a manager that no one wanted to work with. Everyone was, they felt she was a very difficult person to work with. But I was open-minded. What did I have to lose? I didn't understand the language. I needed to prove myself anyway. So if there was someone a lot of people didn't want to work with, maybe if I took my chances, I could play my cards right. And that's what happened, because she did drive me hard, but I was flexible. I kept trying to understand the perspective she was coming from. And what that did was it toughened me. Like there's literally there's nothing coming that I can't handle, because I've been through the fire. I've been through this experience, and it was a great experience at the end of the day, because on that engagement, we then had really great results. I had really excellent feedback. I had a great relationship with this otherwise very difficult person. And that relationship sustains till now. And that also placed me on a pedestal, because I got a promotion off the back of that, so that when I was coming back to Nigeria, I was coming into a higher role. And that just sort of placed me on the pedestal that I needed to be for coming back to PwC Nigeria. But beyond that, it was the experience that you need to have an open mind to dealing with people in any shape or form. Have an open perspective to dealing with people. The fact that everyone says this person is this way does not necessarily mean, until you get to understand people and are open to that, you really can't tell. And you really can't tell what that experience will bode for you. I think the second pivotal moment for me was in change, right? Deciding to pivot from PwC, where I'd spent 16 years knocking on the doors of partnership, to IHS. And that for me was, there is a lot of growth outside your comfort zone. And that's what I found. Oftentimes we're in the decision to move was a very tough one for me, as you would know, Victoria, because I kept, you were my resident HR expert. I kept consulting with you, trying to figure it out. Having spent so long in an organization, you feel so tied to that organization. You feel like your destiny is tied to that one organization. But now, having made the change, I realize that it's quite liberating, and there's a lot of growth in stepping out of your comfort zone to do something different, and even growth in terms of your networks and relationships and your mindset about life. It's just liberating. So I said those two for me, in working with people and being open to a different perspective, and then embracing change and understanding that change is a good thing.
Thank you so much. Really inspiring. Can you hear me? Can you confirm you can hear
Yes.
me? Awesome.
Yes.
And I really, at the risk of repeating everything you've shared, you talked about being open-minded. I don't want to talk, about the entire story, but the difficult situation, or the seeming difficult person that everybody didn't want to work with, and you got that feedback. You started it. It also talked about, growth out of your comfort zone. I would like to take you on something. Like I said, I don't want to go back to what you shared. So earlier today, I had the privilege to speak on emotional intelligence with a team in the office just today. And one of the things I was stressing, it was on leading with emotional intelligence. And one of the things I was stressing was the fact that, the lens with which you see people, what you know about them, usually it determines the opportunities we give them. If you remember this video about the lab decor, the bit about the person behind the lens, just the way you engage people based on what you know about them, it's going to come through. Those, 6 photographers that were giving the same person, they had different outcomes. So let's say you have a staff. So now not a leader like yourself, somebody who's growing in their career and maybe has taken a wrong step or didn't start off well, so there's already an impression about the person. So this time around, not you working with somebody that everybody is saying. So it is you having somebody come to you who you already know. Maybe wasn't a performer or has always had issues, or what steps would you advise that person to take? I hear a lot of it in what you've shared, but maybe just about 2 or 3 things that somebody out there listening to you and saying, I want to have your career, I want to have your kind of, success, but I haven't gotten it right till now. And I've sort of been labeled, it doesn't look, it's like I'm struggling already. The thing about get it right the first time, hit the ground running, and mid-career, it seems I've done some things wrong. Or even within my organization, how do I rewrite that story amongst the people that I report to?
So maybe the first thing I would say is listen for the feedback. What exactly is the feedback that people are giving you that you need to work on? So listen, and it's beyond listening, it's understanding it without any sentiments, without any emotions. And that is pretty much the thing with feedback. So oftentimes it's clouded with emotions and sentiments. Listen for the feedback, firstly. Secondly, is then find support in terms of those who can help you, right? Those who can mentor. I think the word is mentor. Those who can mentor you to address that feedback. Because first of all, you must be willing to want to address it. And in willing to want, so that there's that mindset, that acceptance, right? That acceptance that, okay, this is it, and I want to fix it. So there's the mindset shift that needs to happen. There's the understanding of it. There's the acceptance of it. And then there's finding the right support. And sometimes the right support can be investing a bit more in yourself in terms of education, training, wise. And sometimes it's just people guiding you on the right things to do. So I think those are the things that I would say in terms of if there are areas to improve, how do you go about it?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think those are critical steps that if anybody follows through, they can get the right success. And to also say to our audience, somebody said something a while back at an event, and I thought that it was profound. When you have people like Mrs. Yusuf, Mr. Anekwe, that have done so well in their careers, and like I say, that we haven't even heard the best yet of them. There's still so much that will happen in their careers. When you see people like this, you want to go check them out. Beyond the stories you will hear today, what are the steps that they've taken in their career journey? What things have they intentionally done? So beyond this session where they will share their stories, this is a challenge to our audience to go back and review their journey. Review the things that they have. You want to be in that field where these persons are. Go check them up on LinkedIn. Go check them up on different platforms where they are. Look for people and see, what roles did they intentionally take? Mrs. Yusuf just shared with us how that she had to, step out of her comfort zone, and it's been a period of growth. Imagine if she didn't do that and it was just the I don't want to use the word stereotype, the expected, oh, you've been an associate director, you're already knocking on the door of partner, and it's just that. Yes, she would have still tried. Maybe there's some things that she's currently doing that she might not have done, but just understanding your own story and your path. And so I want to say thank you for that very insightful answer you've given us to individuals. So I'll come back to Ikena at this point. Interesting that you talked about mentors. I'm itching to ask you, about mentoring, but I'll pause. I'll pause on that. So as we look at you, when we look at you, we see a lot of successes. So so I'm asking Mr. Ikena Anekwe now. So when we look at you, we see a lot of success, in your journey. But I believe it's not been all, rosy. There might have been one or two areas where some things didn't go the way you expected. Can you share with us your biggest? I try not to use the word failure, but your biggest failure, or when you were disappointed in yourself, what lessons, what happened, what lessons did you learn, from them, and maybe what you've done subsequently?
Okay, well, for me, I won't call them failures. I'd rather call them challenges that I experienced
Okay.
along the way. Well, almost like Tope, at a point in time, you had people that were more or less like your supervisors, that maybe you had that conflict because in a way I'm a strong-willed person. And being in the organization where you understand the systems and how things work. So you always want to drive and follow that line. And when you now get someone that maybe is now overseeing you, but does not see you for the value that you can add, it now becomes a problem. So a lot of time, things that are meant to be successes for you are not being acknowledged. So it gets to a point where it becomes frustrating. And when you believe that you can't take it anymore, it now becomes like, I have options. And I go back to what I said, because I remember at a point in time, it was so much that I was even considering other offers that were coming. But one thing my wife said to me was that God was the one that gave you this job. It's not any man. So no man can make you leave it. So if you're saying you want to leave where you are to go to another place, I'm not on that with you. So it was difficult to take, but I had to go back and endure. And that was when I learned that phrase: no matter where you work, always learn to manage your bosses. No matter what. You can never go above them. You can never try to circumvent them. The only thing that you can do is to learn how to manage them, find out what their weak spots are, find out what they want, how they want to work. Because maybe because I was being stubborn, I believe that this is how I want to work. But when you have a new leader come in, he will have his own ways of doing things, irrespective of the fact that maybe you were in the organization before him. So you just have to adapt, look for how to manage the person. And when I say manage, not sucking up to the person, but having a conversation and understanding the person. And okay, fine, this is how you want things done. Then you can engage the person that, like, okay, can we try this and see how this works? And at the end of the day, it was something, and I was happy I didn't take the decision that I wanted to take that time. And it's also a lesson to so many of the young ones that are here right now. Sometimes you feel that, oh, I have options, I'll take it. And like I said to you earlier, a lot of the steps that I take were steps that were inspired by the Spirit of God. And so when I was having that thought of looking for another place to work, fine, offers were coming, but my mind was not in it because you look at the place where you're working, the culture, the accessibility that you have to with people at the top, the fact that you're free to express yourself and go for knowledge, as against going to a place where those things are not there. Everything that you want to do might be, oh, who do you know that will help you? But in this place, it is what you know and how you present it. And, having access to the people at the top was also something that helped. So for me, that was one major challenge in my career that I had. And also, maybe I would say challenge also when I wanted to leave my dad. And that's one thing that I like to tell the young ones. It's not as if I was stubborn to my parents, but you know what you want to do in life. You know what you want to accomplish. You have to go for it. Nobody is going to determine for you where you want to go. Because at the end of the day, if you fail in that field, it is you that people will look at and tell you you are a failure, not that your parents failed you. So that was another challenging, because trying to convince my dad, it wasn't as if I just ran away, but I had to explain to him and tell him what I wanted to do. And for me, that was it. The challenges were there, but I thank God that I faced them at the time that I faced them, because it helped me now to understand, and also now that you're leading more people, to see things differently and not always, yeah, you're a leader, but at the same time, you leave room for, like Topper said, where you leave room for feedback, for dialogue. You want to do what you want to do, but allow them to express themselves, but not the one you come and sit on them and say, this is how it's going to be, where people don't talk. So those are the challenges that were there, but I thank God we overcame them, and now is a different story.
Okay, interesting. And I'm just imagining, what do you think would have happened if you had stayed?
If I had stayed
with your dad?
With my dad, okay, let me tell you something. Like I said, where I come from, most of the time people are known for trading. And I just wanted to do something different. And from secondary school, it was even a good idea that the thought of becoming a banker entered into me. So when I was working with my dad, I didn't lose focus of where I was going to. So working with him enabled me to understand some fundamentals, and also, where the office was located, Lagos Island, the Idumota area, it brought me down to earth where, yeah, the business was good, it was thriving, but I didn't go there to sit at the top. I went there, I sat at the shop with the boys that were there. So that taught me something. And I'm not trying to blow my trumpet, but humility is something that I know that I have. That ability to mix up with anybody. I don't care whether you're a cleaner, whether you're a security guy, whether you're the top person. I speak to everyone the same way. That respect. So that, we're here, we don't know how tomorrow is going to shape out. So it is the seeds that you sow today that the harvest, when it starts coming, you cannot say, where is all this coming from? You sow the seed.
Thank you so much. So in my head, as I was listening to both of you, a lot of things were playing out. A lot of things were playing out. I'm going to try and keep it concise. One of the things that is interesting is the fact that you shared, about an opportunity to leave, and you decided to stay with GTB. Tokwe shared about where she had to make a decision, to leave when people were thinking, oh, you're already knocking on that door, of partnership. I think one thing I really want to share with the audience, for those who are on the community, just 2 days ago, well, no, not on Friday, actually, we had a quiz session, question and answer. And one of the key things that came out of that session was the fact that success is personal. One, it's a journey and it's personal. So the fact that somebody decided to, stay at this point, and another person decided, let me try, this is the point for me to step out, it's personal. What defines success for you as an individual is personal. And I always say to also career professionals now, because I'm aware that we have a mix of audience, the point where you decide to take a decision matters also. So I can just imagine Mrs. Yusuf now, if there's an opportunity again to go back, it's going to be so easy because do you understand what I'm saying? Instead of assuming, I'm not saying, I know I have IHS people on the call. I'm not saying you would leave. I'm just saying if, tomorrow something happens and they're like, oh, we need you critically in PwC or another big four, because you built your career to a point where it was, you can move easily, so you paid, like they say, you paid your dues. And that's what I want people, from the audience to also take another thing. So if you look at the stories that our speakers are sharing, you can see that they've worked at, getting to where they are today. And along the line, they've learned a lot of things, and you can hear from their stories. I'm going to ask Mrs. Yusuf one question. I link it back to something I said about, the balance that we seem to see in you. Again, going back to that word success, how would you define success in the different realms of life as an individual? So a career person, a mother. I know that you're also somebody that is very particular about your faith. So how do you bring all this together? What would you say is success? If you look at that's defining success across all the realms, and so what will it be for you? How do they intersect in your life as a professional?
So you've sort of defined it already.
Okay, so tell us how they intersect. Yeah.
It's really about that balance, right? That balance. Yes, I want to do well in my career, but certainly not at the expense of my family, right? And the way that manifests, and not at the expense of family, both immediate and larger. And I'm realizing more and more of late that even the larger family is more important now. So I speak about my parents, making time for my parents who are significantly advanced in age. I speak about my in-laws, making time for family events. So if we start with family, right? My husband, my kids, it's so important for me that my kids have the right values and they grow up to be upstanding members of the community, if I may say so. So being able to share my time, dedicate a good part of my time to that, knowing fully well that it's God that trains children. But if I'm 80 and I look back and I say, what exactly is success? I think my success will be reflected in how my kids have turned out. Right. Because I see that in the same way that my parents look at us. And if you ask my dad, if you ask my mom now, what is success to you? I'm sure she will not talk about the many businesses that she ran or the great firm that he built. It will be about what is the legacy that I'm leaving, and that legacy is reflected in the kids and their ability to continue my legacy beyond me. So that for me as well will be success. Now, of course, get to the top of my career. I'm quite ambitious like that. So get to the top, set up my own business eventually, or continue to run my dad's business, of which I'm a part of at the moment in a consulting capacity. Become the CEO of a multinational at some point. Spiritually, there's a spiritual realm you get to where you feel like you're in sync with God. Sometimes I feel I'm there, sometimes I feel I'm not there. So my goal is to constantly feel like I have that sync with God. So for me, across those, and of course there's health and physical wellness, mental well-being, understanding my limits per time, and ensuring that I do not overburden myself emotionally or just constantly recognizing my limits and staying within my limits. So I'm able to achieve a balance across those critical areas: my family, work, spiritual, mental, and physical well-being. Physical well-being, I still need to do a lot of work because that's an area that yeah, physical fitness and all. But if I'm able to achieve a good balance across those, then I feel that I'm successful. Yeah. And I can see my legacy in my kids.
Great, awesome. I really love how you teed it back into the kids. That was so emotional for me, how that your success will be reflected in how your kids have turned out. If you look at the society today, it's always, and you know what, I'm smiling top as I say how your kids have turned out. This, I'm just being real. I just see my kids come here through the reflection. They are smiling at me. So they're back from school and they're just looking at me through the glass, just at the point I was saying how your kids, turned out. That's so important. And so thank you really for that. And I just reflect on, the society that we're in today. And I'm going to take this question to Ikena, especially with people growing their careers, and in the midst of trying to achieve the balance, success, like, Tucker has shared about different realms, the world of work is changing. So what helped you to achieve balance yesterday, might not be what it will be tomorrow. What helped you to achieve success today? The space of change, is fast. So what are your reflections on what is happening in the professional world, and how should professionals, prepare to maximize these changes so that, they will still be able to achieve that success, at least the level of success, for the different stages of their career? What should people be mindful of?
Well, I'll say that maybe when you look at when we started working and now, access to information, access to the internet, it has really changed a lot of things. Now we're into a situation where you're now talking about the Generation Z, where some people are still finding it hard to understand that bracket of people. So it's now, for me, I'm going to speak from the point of trying to manage these people and see how we've been able to turn it into success of like getting them to commit themselves to the organization, getting them to enjoy working in the organization. And you see, that's one thing that is very critical, whereby you constantly engage with them. So if you don't engage these people, and sometimes you find out that you don't look at yourself as, oh, I'm up here, there's some level of people that I can't talk to. Because there's some information that you require for your own success that you can only get from these people. Forget whatever it is that you might have studied or whatever it is that you're doing. So it's about understanding the people that you work with, engaging them, committing time to them also, because now we've moved into a phase where people that are working with you, it's gotten to a point where you now want to get personal in terms of asking them personal questions.
Yeah.
Because you don't know the state of mind. Like Tokwe said, when you look at people, you don't know their mindset.
Yeah.
So the only way you can find out this, and it's not everybody that you meet, and maybe I come now, oh, Victoria, how are you? What is wrong? Is everything okay? Your answer is just going to be, it's
Yes.
okay, it is well, and all that. But the reason why the person is not talking to you is because that person has not developed that level of comfort where they believe that they can open up to you and whatever they discuss with you stays between the two of you. Because, that's another problem where people, you discuss something and at the end of the day, it finds its way out. So for me, all these things are things that we put together. And from my own perspective, in terms of looking at how things have changed from when I joined and where I am now. So when I look at it and I'm talking to someone out there that is listening to us, the world has changed. You have to change in the way you do things number one. So don't get fixated on what you have known. It is a constant change. You might learn something today, tomorrow you get to work, that thing is still. So what do? You have to constantly look for information. And like say to my colleagues, social media is not bad, but it's how you use it that determines the effectiveness and what it does for you. Because there are some people, they can spend time on social media, but they're going to the part where they pick up things that they learn. Others go there, they're looking at pictures, they're looking at fashion, they're looking at, so two different set of people, two different goals, but the same platform that someone is condemning is the same platform that someone is making a success out of. So you need to look at that and make up your mind to avoid distraction. Because in this world that we live in right now, distraction is plenty. So we have to manage that. And, you set a goal for yourself. And where do you see yourself long term in the next 10 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 2 years? So now you've plotted the graph, you've seen it. So you now have to start walking back. How do I get to this place? What are the things that I require? So it's just something that you have to keep doing. And no time is late. I was telling someone, going to LBS to get the MBA, I delayed in getting that because, you keep procrastinating. But at the end of the day, when you look at it and you say to yourself, it's about time I do this stuff, you might pay a lot of money for it, but the value that you get, I think, if not for LBS, I don't think all of us will have met the network that we've been able to build and the things that we learned that helped me in my new assignment then. It's just enormous. So that's one thing that I will pass to people. Be focused, be intentional about what you want to do. What is your target? Where do you see yourself? Because a lot of time people just wake up and they go to work. All they are working for is the end of the month where they get their pay. But you need to live above that, where you now have to make up your mind and say to yourself, I need to be intentional. I need to set my goals. I need to monitor myself and see how I'm going. So do I have the right people to guide me? Am I looking at the right materials and things like that? So avoid distractions, stay focused, get your mentors, always have that hunger to seek for knowledge. That's it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Very, very comprehensive. I don't know which one, like almost 10 things. And when you linked it to social media, one of the things you were so spot on. Information is everywhere. There's even if you don't see it on social media, somebody has done it before. There's hardly anything new that we can't get. So with the space of change, that things are, things are happening, you want to say to yourself, what do I want? And so for the audience, if you just reflecting on the stories of both of our speakers, you can see intentionality, you can see information at their disposal that they used, to the best and that has worked for them till date. You can see them asking themselves questions like Ikena said, where do I want to go to and what is required? Then he links it back to personal development. Somebody did say that the best investment you can have is investing in yourself. So a lot is around investing, the value of the naira, invest in dollars, which is fine, because you also need to hedge, against some uncertainties. However, as a professional, even as a business owner, what do you know now? What do you know for tomorrow? What are you doing differently? And then what networks, are you building that is going to help you tomorrow? I can't say everything that you've said, but, so much info. Again, audience, I do hope that you're taking all the details you can take. So I'm going to ask again, if you have questions, some questions that we are asking are questions that we received before the session already. And so if you have questions as they're speaking, please put on the chat box. And at this point, we're going to take a short break. We want to hear some testimonials. I hope our video is ready. I believe our video is ready. So we'll take a quick short break. And then when I come back, I'll be asking Mrs. Yusuf a very, very important question.
Hello everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Maylin Victory.
Hi, my name is Victor Abiti.
Hello there, my name is Victoria Olakpeju Ajilore.
I want to especially invite you to Inspired for Impact program, the annual My Journey, My Story program that holds the 7th of November at 7 p.m. annually.
This is not just like a regular virtual event, but it's an event where speakers tell you their success stories, their journey, and these stories inspires you to do more.
Whether you're a student, a career person, or a business person, this is a perfect opportunity for you to get more clarity on how to grow in your business, in your career choice, and to make a better future for yourself.
The date is 7th November, 7 p.m. Mark your calendar and be there.
Don't forget to register and tell a friend to be a part of this year's edition. I look forward to seeing you.
Register and let's level up together.
Thank you and see you there.
Thank you. Thanks for that video. And so like we're leveling up together, really leveling up together. Interesting. So like I said, I'm going to be putting Mrs. Tokbe Yusuf on the spot. You're ready for me, right? Okay, so back to what we're currently facing. So for the audience that are joining us from different parts of the world, so all of us that are speaking, we're currently, at least, okay, no, not all of us, MD is not in Nigeria, but at least I know that Tokwe and I are currently in Nigeria. And so I am in Nigeria and I'm in Nigeria. Given the current situation of things about people leaving the country or deciding to stay back, what should both professionals and business owners, and it's the reality. So even if as an individual I'm deciding, I want to stay, or someone else is deciding to leave, these are real, decisions that people will make. And I believe that there are a lot of our audience that are looking at both of you and asking, just thinking, should I stay? Should I leave? They're asking a lot of questions. And I would always say, as a professional, it's really a personal decision. But what are the things that people should consider? What should be factors that you should say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Would this work in your favor? How do you prepare whether to leave or to stay? In that, that situation where people are thinking, what should I do? What are critical things that individuals should consider? I believe this is one question that our audience want to hear.
All right, thanks, Victoria. So now I'll preface my answer by saying that I've had the opportunity to work and live outside of Nigeria in my life. So I spent 3 years in Cote d'Ivoire working. I spent about 6 months in Angola, about 2 years in Ghana working and living. So I have a good sense of what it means to live and work outside of Nigeria. Maybe not in Europe or the Northern Americas, but yeah, outside of Nigeria. So and of course, I've also been faced with the Japa syndrome myself to say, what is the right decision to make? Because I mean, as an individual, when you have a lot of people around you towing a line, you need to accept, you can't be immune to it. You need to sit down and say, what are the considerations for me and my family? And I'll tell you that some of the personal considerations I've made, I sort of liken it to the Maslow's needs. The 5 needs of individuals. And I ask myself, what exactly are the things that will make me leave Nigeria? And at the heart of that are things really on the lower rung of that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So things like security, things like health benefits, things just psychological safety, really. That ability to want to be able to make something of yourself with the skills that you have, that sometimes the opportunity just doesn't present in Nigeria. But then, based on all of what you see and some of the stories that you hear, there are about 3 other rungs on that ladder that speak to I think self-esteem, self-actualization, and a few other things, right? So it's a trade-off sometimes that I see that people need to make for you to get the safety and security. Some of the things that are missing in Nigeria, uh, are you willing to further down the line some ways, um, as you would see sometimes with probabilities, some of those self-actualization goals, are you willing to let go of that in the future, even if from all indication there are no indications that you won't get that, but what is the probability? Sometimes even just having family around, immediate and extended, having the right level of support, immediate and extended, those are needs that people have, right? Because sometimes you hear a lot of it's so lonely when people japa. Um, Now I should preface that because there's now a large community of Nigerians everywhere. So if you really wanted to build a community, you can. But sometimes just having your family members, your parents, like one of the things I'm able to do every weekend is visit my parents, spend time with them. Now that is not an option for my brothers, for instance, that are jackpot. They call, but it's not the same thing. So at the end of the day, I think for me, the way I look at it and the way I make considerations is what are my needs and where are my needs on Abraham's Maslow's hierarchy of needs? What are the things that are important to me now? Where would I be able to get those needs fulfilled? Will I get them fulfilled better if I edge some of my risks and stay back in Nigeria? Or will I get some of those needs fulfilled if I japa? You know, that the answers to those questions will be different for each individual
Yeah,
and their situation,
very
right?
correct.
So it's possible that you have a good job, you're able to meet your psychological and safety needs, right? And there's no pressure, but then you're not just thinking about now, you're also thinking about the future. In the way Nigeria is and sort of the economic challenges that we're having, all of these my 5 needs, where will I best actualize them? Will I actualize them in Nigeria, or will I actualize them if I emigrate to a different country? I think those are the considerations that people need to make, and the answer cannot be because somebody else is doing this, then I should. The answer needs to be personal, and it will be specific to you and your situation, including your family situation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think that was really deep seated, and even your your facial expression, shows how well thought, through. It was clear like something you have really reflected on. Not, it wasn't just because I'm asking the question, something you've reflected, and I like the link back. So there are some things I would, there's a way I usually would tell people to consider, your goals, you do those 2 options, and then look at your criteria, what really you're looking at, what the objectives are, and then set your criteria. This is met, this is met. And then there's also a bit of timing. That's what I always say. So I really like how you played it back to the hierarchy of needs and things that people should consider. Where will I get it? Then when? There's really a lot of, I think everything we do as individuals has to do with timing. And like you say, the most critical part of this conversation is that it is personal. So whether you decide to stay or leave, let it be your decision. So I say this to everybody: let it be your decision. Let it be well thought through. Let it be that you've also put some things in place. And while this is not about Jackpa, so again, when you mentioned Jackpa, I was going to say it to the audience that Jackpa, for those who are not Nigerians or not currently based in Nigeria, is a term that we use in Nigeria for people leaving the country, maybe usually for greener pastures or for better opportunities, especially for younger folks. And so that's the term, Japa. So I think one word I would just put out there, beyond saying that this decision is personal, is to say that be very intentional to have some things in place. You might not know it all, but it's always a risky thing to just say, oh, whether you're staying back or you're leaving, let there be something, a structure that you can fall back on, something to assist. And the structure might not necessarily be monetary, it can be a structure of resources, people that you have. And I say this with, just reflecting on what a friend did tell me. While this is not a lecture on Jackpa, she said that when people move, the first set of people that you connect with, what their ideologies are, what they believe in, how they're going about their stay in the new environment, determines to a large extent the success that you will achieve as an individual. And the same thing back home. So for those who have decided to stay back, where are you? What are you doing to maximize the opportunities that are opening up? So I'm a human resources professional, like most of you know. There are a lot of opportunities opening up. How are you positioning to be that person? How are you? I mean, there's opportunities to be physically here if you want to still keep in touch. Talk about hits a lot on, that family relationship. And then a lot of virtual opportunities opening up where you can still earn in foreign currency. Okay, that's not the focus of this session. But what I'm just saying is the options are they're enormous. So let's not be boxed into a particular narrative that is not part of our success story. And even if it is part, let's be intentional about timing. Timing, both whether to leave or to stay. Timing is key, and a lot of things affect timing. Where you are in your career, your age. If you decide to move, at what point is critical for you to move so that you get the best of it. Just whatever it is, wherever you find yourself, let it be well thought through. Thank you very much, Tope, for that. I want to go back to Ekena. Again, I'm asking for questions. I've taken some already. So some of the questions I've taken are the ones that I'm going to be asking next. Okay. So looking back, we've had a lot of successes. You've talked about your challenges. You've talked about, how you've been able to navigate, the world of work. But what would you have done differently? If you have the chance to relive your years of experience, think about critical moments, critical decisions, critical moments. What are the things, maybe one thing or two, that you look back now as you connect the dots backwards that you see, I would have done this differently, and why?
Okay. One thing that I will say that I should have done differently. I know that my wife is listening, and I'm going to be saying this. Honestly, family plays a major role in our lives, and no matter how we're hungry for success, we should never neglect them. So if there's anything I'm going to go back to, is to try and spend more time, which I've started doing, and I'm happy I'm doing it. Trying to spend more time with the family. The drive for success, a lot of time tries to take you away from them, whether deliberately or is not deliberate. But you have to be conscious about it, having that family time, irrespective of whatever drive that you have for success. I'm telling you now that I'm retracing my step, trying to correct that, because those are my pillars. And at the end of the day, where do you run to? Where you require strength. So that family aspect is one area that I've made up my mind now to devote more time, and let every other thing play secondary. Let them come to the fore, and at least you spend time with them. There are a lot of things that you read and some clips that you see where at the end of the day, where you neglect them, and when it's now time for you to run back to someone and there's nobody there, what do you do?
Yeah.
But when you create that environment where there is that bond between you and every now and then you're always looking for an opportunity to run back to them, so create that hunger. And for me, it's more or less like an advice or counsel to the younger ones that are coming up. No matter how you're hungry for success, remember that at the end of the day, you might say, oh, I'm making all this money for you people. You should understand. That was one excuse I used to tell myself, that all this hard work is for them. But okay, you're making all the money for them, but you're not there to share in their lives or in their experiences. Of what use is it? You understand? You have kids that are there when they're growing up. And this mentality that we always have, that Topa, I'm sorry, that, and maybe Victoria, sorry, where you think that, oh, it's the woman's responsibility to raise up the children. My own responsibility is to raise up, to make the money
The
and bring
money.
it to the house. But I think that mentality, we need to erase it and play a major role. And, maybe part of the thing that is now helping me is the fact that my wife is also a strong-willed person. So all those days, maybe when we had the kids, I learned how to change diapers. I learned how to make food and feed them. I cook. And it's all as a result of she being that no matter where you find yourself, there are some basic things that you should know how to do. So it's not that, oh, because the nanny is not there, you cannot eat. You're waiting for somebody to come back home.
That is
So
working.
all these things, yeah, there are things that I believe that we should focus on while you're driving on this side. Remember that you have a support system that you cannot neglect.
Awesome. Thank you so, so much. And the things, I really love your openness. Ikena, it's rare to see leaders really come out in a public place like this and say, I wish I'd done this better. And like you say, your wife is listening. I'm sure she's going to be extremely proud of you, knowing the steps you're already taking and knowing your beautiful wife. I know that she's been a strong pillar for you over the years. And just linking back to that particular comment, let me say this to the audience, like I would always say. Apart from your personal determination as an individual, this is my personal view. Apart from your personal determination, to strive for success and your relationship with God, I say this as a person of faith. I think the other very important thing is the person you marry and the support you can get. It determines a lot, around how far you can go. So for those who aren't married yet, please, like we say in local parlance, shine your eyes very well. For those who are already married, see how best you can maximize, utilize what you have to the best. Find that common point that can bring out the best in both of you. It goes a long way. Really goes a long way. If I link it back to what Okwe said about the legacy for the children, what they see and observe in us in those kind of situations, supporting one another or each other, it just defines for them what professionalism is. That part of it that is in the house, what part of professional, because when we say professionalism, many times we're looking at the office, but the way people see us outside of work, how we carry the entire essence of who we are as a professional is first and foremost, the most impact is on the people that are looking up to us, first our children, our mentees, and just people around us. I want to ask Tope a related question. Not really about what would you have done differently. So it's looking at your journey to date. What career? We talked about, being in your father's business as a consultant. So I want to look at everything, and you can pause to answer this because it's not a common question. Well, maybe a common question, but it's something you really need to think about. And the question is, what are your regrets? So you've because we are seeing all the glamour, the high points, but what are your regrets in your life's journey?
So I think it will be somewhat related to what Ikena said, but from a different spin. Uh, Maybe not regrets, but things that I would certainly do differently uh, with benefits of hindsight. This life is about the relationships you build. I've come to realize that in our various journey and the various things we do, it's so important that we do not break bonds. Um, Early in my career, and if you understand the consulting world, there's a lot of focus on results, driving to get results, and um, you would also understand that you're getting results through people. So you're really leading people to get results. And sometimes, in a bid to get results, you sometimes push people too hard, and you think that because you can do it, then everyone should be able to do it. So you I tended to push people a bit hard, and in the process, broke some bonds or broke some relationships. So if I would do things differently, I think that's the aspect that I would and I have started doing differently. Understanding that this life, it's more about the relationships you build. The work will get done anyway. The results will come anyway. So, but how do you get there? What are the relationships? What are the bonds that are built? How do you enjoy the process? How do you ensure that you're listening to people and you're managing people um, at their capacities and at their capabilities, while at the same time still trying to develop them, but then doing it with a lot more empathy. Um, so that would be what I would do differently. I see Victoria is off for a bit.
I
So
think I
we'll just
totally agree with you in terms of not breaking relationship, and the work will always be done. Like I say to my colleagues, no matter the targets that they set for us, they are basically figures and numbers that can be achieved. But who are the people working with you to achieve this result? What impact have you been able to make in terms of the investment that you've been able to make in their own lives by pushing them? It's not just enough to drive people to get a result, but you also need to pay attention to them and have that conversation where people they understand why they work, not because I have someone that is always telling me what to do, but you come to work in the morning, you know what is expected of you, you know what time that you are meant to close. But if you have things that you need to deliver, you might not have to stay the extra time to achieve those things. And I totally agree with you, not breaking relationship, because it is very, very important as you move along the line. The same people that you broke, maybe tomorrow they might be in a position on sitting on a table where your approval or for something is going to pass through. So we just have to be intentional about the people that we work with.
yes, spot on.
Mm.
No. Thank you so much. I'm going to latch on the last thing you said, Ikena. Please confirm you can hear me. And
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
yes, and,
yeah.
and and that's sharing a personal story of when I was in my NYC. We were two youth corps members in the bank that I served, the then Intercontinental Bank, and he told me a story of how he was able to go, to school. How that his father used to be a civil servant, who when he retired he had to be a contractor. It was common in those days when you know, retire, then you become a contractor in the civil service. And his father took you know, his application somewhere to a particular ministry, and then the, you know, the man in charge came out and saw him and, you know, gave him some preferential treatment, saying, oh, this, you know, this old man come in, and it was like, oh, you can't remember me? And he was like, oh no, I can't remember. You know, reminded him how that, as a young man, you know, just coming fresh out of school, he gave him an opportunity to work when everybody, you know, was asking about who you know. He just saw him and felt, oh, this guy is bright, and gave him an opportunity. But for somebody who that was his lifestyle, just helping people, he didn't put it, you know, he couldn't remember. He just knew he had been instrumental to helping a lot of young people back in the day. And so, but the person who was impacted remembered. And so, like you say, you never know how the story will pan out. You know, the intentionality on about how we treat people, how we, you know, how we just manage the relationship we have with people is very, very critical to our success. And we'll spend an hour and a half already. I said this is a 2-hour program. Part of the 2-hour program is that we're going to be bringing 2 persons. One, the first half, in another 5-10 minutes, we'll bring the chairman of Inspired for Impact. We had a regularization this year where we registered fully as an NGO. And so we have that structure in place. We're looking to expand our board. And so at the moment, we started very lean, just a 3-man board, so that we're sure that we're bringing in just the right persons at the right time. Then subsequently, after he puts in some words, I will now bring on stage, after we've thanked our speakers, I'll bring on stage so we have enough space for the team. So I like to say that these are the guys behind everything you see. People always ask me every year all these things that you do, you know, how do you find the time, you know, the different things you do, especially Inspire for Impact, all the adverts, all the publicity, all the content, everything. And I tell people, I don't think I do up to 10% of what you see. So I've been blessed to have a great support system in the team members. So you will be seeing their faces towards the end of this segment. So back to my speakers. Very interesting. I want to ask each of you, this is not your final word, so please don't take it as final word. So just reflect on the different questions we have asked, your career journey, you know, not final word again. What critical things would you say, professionals, what things will be critical to success? You know, we're talking your success story, the journey to relevance. What things you haven't mentioned? So take a moment to think. I'll start with you, Tokwe. What is it you haven't mentioned that you think professionals, business owners, parents, everybody on the call or listening to us, you know, and those who are going to watch this subsequently, what are critical things, top 3 that they should consider and give attention to?
To my mind,
Yeah.
I'd say build trust.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important that trust is the currency that a lot of interactions with people rely on, and there's nothing you would do in career, in family. It's really about interactions with people. So seek to build trust. And if I break that down, it will be, what is your credibility, your competence in your specific field? So are you developing yourself to deliver on what it is that you've been given to do, or what it is that you're aspiring to do? How reliable are you? Can people depend on you? What sort of relationships are you building? You know, and at the heart of it is, where's the spirit of service? Is it all about you, or you are thinking of the bigger picture, the larger environment, and the impact that you're making? So seek to build trust. I'd say also be excellent. Seek to be excellent at what you do. It's important that you build relationships, but it's also important that you are known to be good people should be able to mention your name whether you're there or you're not there. Now, when you have relationships and you're also good, then you're well positioned. Um, I would also say it's important that you keep developing yourself. We've mentioned this before, but I cannot overemphasize the importance of self-development beyond what the organization will give you, beyond every year. You must be able to look at your CV and add something onto it in terms of how you've personally developed. Um, and sometimes it's not even about your CV, it's just knowing that you've grown. You've done something to improve yourself.
Yeah.
So those would be my top three things.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So same question for Ikena. But before I go to Ikena, I think I just want to put an equation out there that you said, maybe not in the exact words as an equation. So you talked about building the right relationship that you build through trust, and under trust, your credibility, your competence. Then if you add excellence to that, it means you're well positioned. So well positioned, I believe, for opportunities when they come knocking, well positioned for your name to be mentioned in the right corridors where they should be mentioned for those opportunities. They don't just land on your lap, you know. The things it has is a reflection of. So they say one of the best predictors of future performance is past performance. And past performance is not just delivery on the job, it's also the relationships you knew before that opportunities, you know, the opportunity came. And so a combination of everything that you built over the years, if you add excellence on top of that, then you are well positioned for opportunities. And that's really why we're here, the things you will learn. And so the same question, but maybe you can spin it as your secret. So we want to hear, what's your secret ingredient? You know, things that we have not, anything you have not said that is part of your secrets. Let's hear it. We don't want to leave this session without hearing that. Yeah, that's you. Ikena, you're muted. Yeah, thank you.
Topper has said some of them,
Okay.
but for me, the things that I'm going to add is number one, be mindful of your name. Name is very important so that you know that no matter what it is that you're going out there to do, know where you're coming from. Know you have a name to protect. Then the second thing I will look at is, you know, I was reading, okay, I just finished the leadership program with McKinsey. Some of the things that we took out of that place is one, nobody is the strongest man on earth. So all of us will have vulnerabilities. Don't be too timid to talk about your vulnerabilities. And I think I learned that there because we're in a class over 75 people, different countries, and you know, people were free to express themselves. And you know, some of the things that I shared there were things that ordinarily will have been held back because you believe that these are my vulnerable part that I don't want anybody to see. What I should allow them to see is the strong, driven guy and all that. Then the final thing for me is your network. It shouldn't be about quantity, but quality. It is key. What is the essence of having 100 people when you're now in need and only one person that you can count on? So it's better for me to just have two people in my network that I know that at any given point in time that I have any need and they are called upon, they will always respond. You can imagine maybe you have a critical situation at about 11:30, 12, and you look at your contact, you're calling people. Meanwhile, you need them at that moment. They are telling you, okay, I'll be there in the morning. Only God knows, will you be alive in the morning for them when they come? So your network is critical. Let it be something that you have to assess on a constant basis. Where I look at my network, I have 100 people, and I have to ask myself, who are the ones that are always taking from me? You note those people because these are the ones that drain your energy. Then who are the ones that are always giving to me and I'm also giving back? You take note of those ones. Then you now look at the ones that you always take from. That means you need to learn to also reciprocate. So when you gather all these things together, you can now say, okay, I can tell, you draw a line like they taught us. Okay, the ones that take energy from you, you draw a red line. The ones that you collect from, you draw a green line. The ones that you give both ways, you draw the arrow that put. So this thing now helps you to narrow down that network. It, remember what I said, it's not about the number, because a lot of people believe that, oh, I have 200 friends. No, those are not your friends. They're just people in your network. The ones that you can now categorize as friends are those that, when the chips are down, what are they going to do? Are they going to stick out their neck for me and, come to my rescue? So these three things, we've not said before, which I'm saying now, you have to be mindful of them. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so, so much. Thank you so much. You hit a lot of points, being vulnerable, knowing who's really in your network and who are your friends within that network. Who can you really, really call, in addition to self-development. And, as I reflect on what you've said, one time it hit me that I was building more relationship above and beneath. This is a personal experience, So I had mentors who I looked up to, who could call me, who, when I had decisions to make, I could run to, And then I had a lot of people looking up to me. And, I paused and I said, Victoria, who are your friends? Who are the people that you're growing together? There's going, when the chips are down, those are the kind of people that you want to avoid. There's some things that are going through that your mentors won't get. Your role models might not necessarily get. They pass that phase, And then people coming beneath, they can't understand. They can't relate with it. You understand? Who can you say these are my top 5 friends who go out? Because I've never really been the outing type, So I think, where I met you guys was one place that really made me come out. And I'm not sure I'm the best, at attending events, but I can tell you that has been the team that I've really attended the most events with. And so it's been a conscious effort on my part. And to say this to the audience, I like to always bring this back to the audience. It's been said that you are a sum total of the average of the 5 closest people in your life. So if you look at where you're going to, you look at where the people that are closest to you in your circle, where they're going to, what their ideologies about life, in addition to them being able to help you, people you can call when you are in a critical situation, not necessarily, not just both in terms of resources, but also in terms of ideas, what they've been exposed to. Those things matter. They really matter. And to just bring it home that's why I know we're all rich, everybody is rich, and we're all going to get wealthier. But that's why it seems like certain, circles of people will stay within those circles for marriages and things like connections. It's intentional, it's deliberate, because they understand that your circle really matters. So my question to the audience, one of the things you should leave here with is to go back. The way you draw your vision board and put it up there, that's the way Ike has told us. Draw those things, draw your network. Who do you have there? Who are they? Use all the lines, and then decide who is feeding, who is improving you, who is a denominator, who is multiplying your impact, who is subtracting from you, and then decide. This is almost the end of the year. Decide what you want to do differently in 2024. Like we always say, the relationships you keep, you are just a sum total of what you know, the books you read, and very, very critical, the relationships that you keep. I want to say thank you, and at this point, I'm going to ask for 2 things. One, I'm going to be bringing our chairman. You both know him. I'm sure you already guessed who it is. His name is Mr. Bimbola Olujide. He's going to come on. I always do this every year. I bring in somebody who is most likely a senior friend or a mentor. This time around, now that we have a structure, is our first chairman joining us, our first chairman as we continue to build the NGO that we've registered. And so he's going to be coming on board. Please bring him to help us, to join us in this last stage. We'll give me a few minutes to just wrap up some of the conversations, and then I'm going to take your final words as guest speakers. But as he's coming on board, I want to take your final words, and then I will bring him while he's settling in. So anybody can go first. Thank you. Your final word to the audience. And but before you go, audience, we're not done yet. We still have our chairman, giving us a few words, and then you will meet the permit me to say, real MVPs, the guys. So there's been a lot of Victoria, you're doing this. And I must say to you, these are the guys making it happen. I really want to celebrate them. Typically, I will send a note after the event, but this time around, I said, no, we're going to celebrate them during the event. So you see their faces, and I want every one of you to help me appreciate them as they come on live. So let's hear the last words from our speakers. Thank you.
Since I started off, I'll let you now go first.
And I wanted to say is ladies first.
Okay, since you spoke first.
Okay. My final word is it goes back to what I said. Be intentional about what you want in life. Be focused. Try as much as possible to avoid distraction. Then also, as you build your network, it is not about quantity, but quality. Because at the end of the day, there's something about me. I'm a shy person. This is one of the things that people don't know. But you tend to cover it up a lot with how you look and sometimes the air around you. So you see, it's just something that helps you. You try as much as possible. It's not in the number of places that you go to or try to make yourself popular, but the value and the impact that you've made in the life of people, such that when you're not there, what are they going to say about you? So that is critical. So let's focus on that and not make it all about money, because when you focus on money, you more or less like you miss the main things. Because focusing on people, you have God there. For me, honestly, God is number one. And my word to everybody, if you don't have a relationship with him, I think it's about time you make up your mind to get close to him, because that way he'll be able to guide you, direct you, so that the steps that you take or decisions that you make are not the ones that you end up regretting. But you know that someone spoke to you. People, when you have the spirit talking to them, they say something, someone, but it's the spirit that is talking to you and is guiding you. And as you develop that relationship with him, you'll hear him more. And everything you want to do, he will guide you and inspire you. And we're in the session of Inspired for Impact. So God inspires you, and that's my final word. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Focus. Networking, let it be about the quality, not just the quantity. And I would say network across, top, your peers, and then people who you can leave the legacy with. And then you also talked critically about your relationship with God, how that helps you to be in sync with what you should be doing and with his guidance. Thank you so much. That's the cherry on top of it all from Hugh. And I want to take that same bit from Tokwe. Tokwe, over to you.
So I'll say all of what Ikena has said, but in addition, I will add that relationships matter. So, and in the relationships that we have, let's try to constantly focus on the value we give. Right, the value we give. It's not just about what we can get, but the value that we give. So relationships matter. Those bonds should not be broken. In even where there are conflicts, the bonds should not be broken. So that's one. The second thing I'll talk about is the arrogance of success. So I don't see the audience, and I don't know at what stages we all are, but we need to beware of the arrogance of success, and recognize that change is the only constant thing in life. So being anticipating that change, preparing for change, not being comfortable in our comfort zones. So those are the two things I'm with the audience this night.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really love the anticipate, for change, because those changes will happen, whether in the economy, in the tech space, the fourth industrial revolution, and then even just what is happening locally and internationally, and then changes with us as individuals, either careers, families, the changes will happen, anticipate them. And the question really is, how do you prepare? I also like the bit you talked about, relationship bonds should not be broken. If I look back on some, I did a video one time on, things I wish I did differently. And one of the highlights for that session was really relationships, some places and some people I look back and I'm like, I wish I'd managed this better, especially when I move on from a particular place. I'm not one to keep checking, you understand? So it's something I always know that I should have done better. I think we talked about focus, when Ikena spoke, and it's been an amazing session so far. I've done some checks, and some of the comments I've gotten is very conversational, that we did great, just checking in. Somebody used the word awesome, and so I want to say to both of you that you should be assured that you've made tremendous impact. I believe that on Instagram, on LinkedIn, you're going to be getting some requests following this. So people are going to be following you and requesting to be your, contacts, as you normally, will get when you have sessions like this. So I want to request, please, can Mr. Olujide come online? Is he there? Is he there? Awesome. So it's just going to wrap up in a few minutes, and then I'll bring the team. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a tremendous honor to gather together this evening again. It's the fourth time in a row, and I think it's getting better, and it's going to continue to get better. I would like to start by thanking our speakers. There are people that are well known to me, Victoria, and I didn't expect anything less. I trust that there have been remarkable additions to individuals' life today. I will make a very quick recap of the things that feature very prominently tonight. The first is the place of God in the life of individuals. I can only pray that we won't grow so bright and self-assured to the extent where we think this place is not necessary in our lives. Second, if people listen the way I did, is how the subject of family resonated very prominently in the presentation of our speakers. And as an offshoot of that, I want to say firmly that there's a place for parenthood. Call it fatherhood, but I want to generalize by calling it parenthood. Fatherhood, parenthood, and that does not have to be biological alone. So not all of us have the kind of biological configuration or family configurations where biological parents are able to inspire us or provide a needed leverage or springboard for us to move out in life. But happily, there's another name that parents or parenthood go by. That thing is called mentorship. So for any listener who have been looking forward, there's no need for us to feel disappointed because we perhaps assume that we didn't have the kind of parent that Tope had, the kind of parents that Igena had, or that Victoria had, or that I have. There's always an opportunity for another chance through something called mentorship. So you're not going to allow yourself to be stranded. I look at the foundation that both speakers established. They spoke about, the issue of integrity and focus. If integrity does not matter to you, it is important to stop everything you are doing and work on that first. Once that is firmed up, most other things will fall in place. Focus, hard work, beautiful, but without integrity, the opportunity is going to be possibly, in fact, next to zero. because one way or the other, the person will fall along the line. Then also, they also hinted at the power of company. Don't go alone. That came in different terms: association, your network, bonds, and circle, whatever name you want to call it. Don't go alone. This life, you cannot run it alone. We need to go in company. And then I'd like to also borrow a very popular term, what they call OQP, only quality people. And I think that also resonated in what the two speakers spoke about, that the quality of your circle matters a lot. I congratulate you for finding yourself in this environment. I know that it will continue to get better and better as we go by. If you listen very well to almost everything we do in Inspired for Impact, two words play out very prominently. The most prominent word you hear here is the word called impact. And time and again, I've meditated about it. If you gather together a set of people who are at the bottom, the lowest percentile or quarter or whatever, in terms of intelligence, I mean, in raw terms, I want to say, if you gather together the dumbest set in any group, and they are able to work together with integrity, you find out at the end of the day that they will have their own impact. So this doesn't have to do with the extent of intelligence you have and other things. I'm beginning to hear calls. Maybe he's starting my running up. So what your those natural features and gifts are not compulsory. Impact matters. The second word that features most prominently in our program is the word inspired. And I want all of us to go out of this place today meditating very deeply. Who inspires me? And who do I inspire? I commend you all to God. And I want to thank our speaker very much for giving us
Thank you.
so much. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. Thank you so much. Are you still speaking? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Excellent wrap up. And I think I want to also end this with that comment. You've gone off. Okay. Who inspires you or what? And who do you inspire? And the last comment on that will be that wherever you find yourself, there's a book by Robin Sharma, the leader who has no title. Wherever you find yourself, I know that you joined this session. So I'm speaking to the audience. I know you joined this session to learn from the stories of people who are, who we see as successful professionals, individuals. But I want to challenge you that whatever situation or position or stage you're in, there's somebody that can be inspired by you, both by your success, by the integrity with which you live your life, by your intentionality around the glass balls in the midst of the different rubber balls that you juggle. So there was a lot about intentionality around our families, around our relationships, around our self-development. All these things are glass balls that we want to treasure, we want to keep intact, in the midst of every other thing that we can always bounce back from. So again, the question as we end is, what inspires you? What's helping you decide to develop yourself further? And then, who do you want to send the ladder back down? Who are the people around you? Who are the people coming behind? Who are the people on your level? Who are even in the days of reverse, psychology? Who are the leaders that can learn, from the new world of work and the things that younger people know better, doing? Who are you inspiring with your work? And if I would link it back to that equation around excellence, around the right relationship, and positioning well, there's a lot about that, that you can look at the people you can inspire and the people who are inspiring you and just positioning yourself for the next level. So I'm going to expect to hear more from everybody here next year. I'm looking forward to a situation like what I experienced at Wimby's this year, Wimby's conference. A lot of the speakers said that this was my dream 4 years ago. People in the different sections that happened, sessions that happened. And some person said, oh, I've been here coming for the last 5 years, and I was hoping that one day I'm going to be on this stage. For some of them, it was a little as a 15 minutes, session, but it's career defining. And so I'm looking forward to a situation where somebody's going to say, I was up, I used to join Inspired for Impact Summit every year, just getting everything that I could get from the speakers. And today, because of the impact that I'm making, because of the strides I've made in my business, in my career, or in the social impact space, wherever space you find yourself, I've also been deemed worthy to grace the stage of the My Journey, My Story Summit. So this is thank you to all our speakers, to our chairman who has wrapped up. And as they leave the stage, we're going to be bringing the team on stage. Please, a round of applause. You can just put a virtual clap for our speakers. And before they go off, I want to see all of you smile because I want to have this picture. So please smile, your bright smile. Prince, I hope we're taking this picture. I want to have this picture. Thank you. Because by the time some people become one minister, World Bank, I didn't want to say some things before, I want to be able to show that picture and say, we were here together, we've done this. I know I'll be seeing the corridors of power anyway, and God will take us there. Thank you so much. It's been a very exciting time. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thank you to you too and your team, your amazing team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Chairman.
much.
Thank you, Kena. Thank you. So thank you, Chairman. Thank you, MD. Thank you, my president. I think it's good I can end. I can call you all by that. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so everybody joining, please just give me a few more minutes. I know that you are still on the call. Please, I really need you to help me appreciate this, guys. Prince, PM, if you can bring everybody on stage. Not everybody is available, so as they come on stage, we're also going to be playing the video that has all their faces. I want you to help me say a big thank you to all of them. But as they come on stage, I want to quickly do something. For those of you who've joined us over the years, you know that I always end this session with a word of prayer by one of my pastors or one of my mentors, one of my spiritual leaders that I look up to. And this year I'm spinning it. I want to pray for you. You've heard the stories. You've heard us say a lot around our relationship with God. The things that I do as an individual, as they bring, I hope you are bringing everybody, on stage, please, as I say this, so that I can, marry both together. The things that you see us do on Inspired for Impact is because we are inspired to do it. So I want to give you an opportunity, if you're anybody here who doesn't yet have a relationship with your maker. And for me, as a person of faith, I mean a relationship with the Son of God, the person who is Jesus Christ. And you want to say, I would love to have that relationship. This is your opportunity. So I'm going to be saying a word of prayer. And I believe God that as you take this step of faith, to build that relationship with him, God will enable you and will direct you in the right path. Lord, I pray at this moment for as many that are believing you, that want to have this relationship with you, as many that have lost direction, as many that have lost focus, as many that have lost hope, as many that are asking, what next? What's my next level? As many that are saying, no, I've been abandoned. This is an opportunity. And as many that are saying, I really want to have this relationship, this inspiration, this joy that I see that individuals have. Lord, I commit these ones into your hands. I pray that as they confess you as their Lord and Savior today, I pray, Lord, that you accept them. Their path begins to be established in you from today in Jesus' name. And I ask that you say these words after me. I commit myself to you, Lord Jesus, and I pray for your divine direction. I accept you as my Lord and personal Savior. And from henceforth, I would love to do your will by your enabling grace. Welcome to the fold. If you did say this prayer now, and for those who are going to watch this and say this prayer subsequently, I welcome you in advance to the fold. I'll bring the team right now. I really need everybody to see their faces. Are they coming up? Are they coming up? I want to see your pretty and handsome faces. Are they coming up? I haven't seen anybody yet. I'm still alone here. Okay, so as they're coming up, we can play the video. Please turn on your videos. So while that is coming up, if we can play, the Inspire for Impact video, so we can use that to wrap up. Okay, I would have to end the session here, mindful of the time. This is a big thank you. So you can still stay back, you will see the video. But this is a big thank you to everybody who's joined the call. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for the prayers. Thank you for the well wishes. Thank you for the gifts that you've sent. And thank you for your support over the years. And I know that we'll continue to have your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great thanks to the team. Watch out for more of our videos, our sessions. You did see at the beginning, we're going to end this with that video as you stay on, and just telling you everything that we do in Inspired for Impact. We have your details. Please watch out for more details from us. God bless you. Thank you. Help me celebrate them. I'm sure you saw that video. Please, if you know this guy, so two things I will say. If you know them personally, tell them thank you. I say it all the time, but I want you to say it to them. And I also want to tell you that they are professionals that have different skills like you have seen on the screen. So you can reach out to them, for different things. I look forward to seeing you here next year. Something big is happening next year. Just follow us on all our platforms. You will hear the details. So this is good night, good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us all across the world, and do have a beautiful end of the year. God bless you. I'm still live. I'm still live. I'm still live.
Wow, thank God. It was good.
I'm still live. Yes. Thank you for the messages. Keep them coming. Oh, awesome team. Thank you. That's the spies. Please give them my warm regards. Yes, they will hear. Thank you.
On our platform Inspired for Impact, we have different programs. We have the book club, which we run every other month. A lot of fantastic books, and those books have been inspiring. We have the new month prayers, where we just declare into the new month what we want it to be. We do that every first day of the month, 5:30 a.m. On Zoom. We also have the Living Inspired monthly event, where we have different speakers. Sometimes I run those sessions, and then a number of times we have speakers who take us through different topical sessions. Currently, we run that on Instagram Live, and it's tagged Living Inspired with Victoria Bauer. Finally, I run a coaching segment as part of the platform every quarter, and it's coaching conversations with Victoria Bauer. Just taking professionals in the different areas, different levels or stages of their career through important topics and things they need to be aware of, and just to help them be the best versions of themselves in their professional careers. I want to show you that you're being a part of this program is not a coincidence. Inspired for Impact as a platform is an assignment, it's a purpose being fulfilled, and it's part of us going a step further in pursuit of purpose with passion. It's been said that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step that is taken. You're joining this event today from wherever you are in the world is a step you're taking towards that desired destiny and future that you see for yourself. I just want to say this to you. As you partake in this year's event, Do not just partake in it. Be deliberate about making the required changes and taking the steps that you need to take. So I'm going to be seeing you at the top, because definitely the top is where you belong. So sit back, enjoy the event, and stay blessed.